The first sign was not fire. It was silence. Space around Earth went quiet. Too quiet. For years, humans watched the stars. They listened. They learned. When 9,900 alien ships appeared near Earth, humans did not scream. They did not panic. They waited. The galaxy reacted first. News spread fast. Every major world watched the same image. A massive alien armada surrounding a small blue planet. Experts spoke. Leaders argued. Most agreed on one thing. Earth would not survive. Humans were young. Humans were divided. Humans were weak. That was the story the galaxy believed. The alien fleet moved into attack position. Their ships were huge. Their weapons bright. Their confidence absolute. They had crushed stronger worlds. Older worlds. Worlds that begged. Earth sent no message. Alien commanders laughed. They believed silence meant fear. They were wrong. Inside human space command, a single man stood still. He was not famous. He was not loud. He was calm. Screens around him showed the enemy fleet. Numbers beyond counting. Weapons ready. Officers waited for orders. Some were afraid. Some were angry. The man felt neither. Humans had planned for this moment. Not this enemy. Not this time. But this moment. Long ago, humans learned a lesson. Space is not kind. Peace does not last. So they prepared. As the first alien weapons fired, human satellites vanished. Defenses fell. Or so it seemed. The galaxy cheered. Earth was falling. Inside, the alien fleet celebration started early. They moved closer. Tight formation. Ready to finish. Then space changed. It was subtle. Almost invisible. Signals slowed. Sensors failed. Distance felt wrong. Alien ships began to drift. Not by choice, but by force. Confusion spread. Orders repeated. Systems checked. Nothing made sense. On Earth, human cities went dark. Lights off. Networks silent. The galaxy believed Earth had lost. Inside hidden bunkers, humans watched quietly. The man finally spoke. His voice steady. Begin Phase 1. Far beyond the alien fleet, something woke up. Old machines. Silent for years. Space around Earth bent. Paths shifted. Targets disappeared. Alien ships fired again. But their weapons missed. Or hit nothing. Panic started. The alien commanders shouted orders. Retreat. Advance. Fire everything. It did not matter. Human technology did not block attacks. It removed choices. Alien ships began to vanish. Not explode. Not break. They were simply gone. The galaxy went silent again. This time in fear. No one understood what humans were doing. Or how. Inside human command, the man watched calmly. This was not victory. This was setup. He remembered old words from human history. Never fight fair. Fight smart. The alien fleet finally realized the truth. This was not a defense. This was a trap. Space around Earth was no longer normal. It was controlled. Human fleets began to appear. Not from Earth. Not from nearby. From everywhere. Small ships. Fast ships. Ships the galaxy had never seen. They moved with purpose. No wasted motion. No hesitation. Alien ships tried to flee. Paths closed. Space refused. The first enemy ship was destroyed. Then another. Then hundreds. Still humans said nothing. The galaxy watched in horror. This was not a battle. This was removal. Inside the alien command ship, fear took control. They had attacked Earth expecting surrender. Instead, they found something else. A species that learned from pain. A species that planned for extinction. A species that waited. The man gave another order. His last for now. Close the net. Space tightened. The trap completed. Far away, 17 alien ships broke free. Burning engines. Broken formations. They ran. They did not look back. Behind them, 9,900 ships were gone. Some destroyed. Some lost. Some frozen in silence. Earth remained. The galaxy would remember this moment. But not yet. Because this was only the beginning. The galaxy did not celebrate the silence. It feared it. After the battle around Earth, space looked empty. Too empty. News channels replayed broken images. Alien ships vanishing. Human ships appearing from nowhere. No one understood how. or why. Only one fact was clear. Earth still existed. Far from Earth, the 17 surviving alien ships ran without rest. Their engines burned hot, their crews shaken. They carried one message: do not attack humans. Inside their ships, fear ruled. Not the fear of death, but the fear of knowing. They had seen something impossible. They had seen humans control space itself. The alien commanders argued. Some wanted to warn their leaders. Others wanted to hide the truth. None wanted to return. Meanwhile, on Earth, humans remained quiet. No victory speeches. No broadcasts. Cities slowly returned to light. People went back to work. Children went back to school. To the galaxy, it looked unreal. A world attacked by 9,900 ships. And yet calm. Inside Human Command, the man still stood watching. He had not slept. He had not moved. Screens showed deep space now. Not the enemy. Because the enemy was no longer near. Officers whispered among themselves, asking the same question. Will they come back? The man answered softly. They will not. Not yet. Humans understood something the galaxy did not. Fear does not disappear. It spreads. The surviving ships would carry fear home. And fear would change everything. Far away, the alien survivors reached the edge of their territory. Stations detected them. Weapons powered up. But the ships did not attack. They begged to be allowed in. Leaders gathered quickly. Confused. Angry. They demanded reports. The survivors told their story. Not with pride, but with shaking voices. They spoke of space bending. Of weapons failing. Of ships being erased. They spoke of humans. The room fell silent. Older leaders remembered old warnings. Stories ignored. Records hidden. Humans were not new. They were patient. Someone asked a simple question. How do we lose? The answer was worse than defeat. We never fought. We were already inside their plan. Panic spread through alien space. Fleets were recalled. Borders closed. Some leaders demanded revenge. Others demanded peace. No one agreed, because no one knew how to fight humans. Back in the Galactic Council, emergency sessions began. Worlds accused each other. Alliances cracked. The question echoed again and again. What are humans? Some called them monsters. Others called them saviors. Most called them mistake. Inside human space, the man finally moved. He turned away from the screens. The attack had ended, but the story had not. Humans knew this was only phase 1. Earth defenses remained active. Fleets stayed hidden. Systems stayed awake. Humans prepared for the reaction, because reaction always came. Deep space sensors detected movement. Far away. Careful. Slow. Someone was watching. Not the survivors. Not their allies. Something else. Ancient signals woke up. Old beacons answered. The galaxy felt it. A pressure. A question. Who are the humans? Inside the council hall, fear returned stronger than before. One member whispered, "We have changed something." The oldest member nodded. "Yes. We reminded the universe that humans exist, and the universe does not ignore that." The man in Human Command received the report. Unknown observers. Unknown patterns. He was not surprised. Humans had expected this. When predators see strength, they either hide or study. The man chose his next step carefully. Not to attack, not to retreat, to wait. Because humans had learned patience the hard way. The galaxy waited with them. Every star felt closer, every shadow darker. Because the lesson of Earth had spread. 9,900 ships attacked. Only 17 escaped. And now everyone wondered, what happens next? Fear did not fade across the galaxy. It settled. Worlds adjusted their schedules. Fleets changed routes. Voices lowered. Everyone waited for the humans. But humans did not speak. Inside, human space preparations continued quietly. No banners. No songs. No pride. Only work. The man watched new reports arrive. Patterns forming. Lines crossing deep space. Observers were closer now. Still hidden. Still careful. They were learning. Humans did not like being studied. But they understood it. They had done the same to others. Long ago, humans learned that strength attracts attention. And attention attracts danger. The man ordered deeper scans. Older systems. Slower systems. Tools built to see what did not want to be seen. Space answered slowly. Shadows moved where stars should be. Echoes arrived before signals. Something was near. Meanwhile, the surviving alien ships reached their capital world. Leaders waited behind shields and walls. The survivors told their story again, this time with proof. Recordings, data, broken logic. They showed space folding, ships freezing, weapons failing. They showed humans. The room broke into panic. Some leaders demanded a new fleet. Larger, stronger. Others demanded peace, surrender, anything. No one wanted to be the next lesson. The debate ended when the data reached the archives. Ancient files unlocked themselves. Warnings written by hands long dead. Do not provoke the humans. No one remembered who wrote it, only that it had been ignored. Back on Earth, the man met with others. Leaders, scientists, soldiers. Not to celebrate, but to decide. The question was simple. What if they come again? Answers were not. Some wanted to expand defenses. Others wanted to strike first. The man listened, then spoke. We wait. Silence followed. Waiting had saved them before. Waiting had allowed humans to choose the battlefield. Humans never rushed when time was on their side. Deep space activity increased. The observers tested boundaries. Light pressure, small distortions. Humans recorded everything. Then one human station went dark. No explosion, no warning, just gone. Fear rippled through human command. Not panic, focus. The man closed his eyes for a moment, then ordered containment. Nearby systems locked down. Fleets repositioned. This was not the survivors. This was something else. The observers had touched reality, and reality had answered. A signal arrived. Not words, not images. A presence. It felt old, curious, dangerous. Humans understood the message without language. You're noticed. The man responded with a single action. Not a reply. Human fleets formed a pattern. Not aggressive, not defensive, visible. For the first time, humans showed themselves. The galaxy gasped. Why reveal now? Because humans knew something others did not. Unknown threats test reactions. Not strength. The presence shifted closer. Pressure increased. Systems strained. Human ships held position. Crews felt fear. But fear was familiar. Humans had lived with it for centuries. The presence pressed harder. Space bent. One human ship failed. Then another. Losses happened. The man did not flinch. This was expected. Humans learned from failure. They always had. Data flowed. Models changed. Adaptation began. The presence paused. It felt the shift. Humans were adjusting. Slowly the pressure eased. Not retreat. Assessment. The presence was not finished, but it was no longer confident. Across the galaxy, observers realized something terrifying. Humans were not just strong. They learned faster under pressure. The man ordered a limited pullback. Not retreat. Reposition. Human ships moved like thought. Smooth. Precise. The presence followed at a distance. Watching. Learning. Both sides studied each other. The galaxy held its breath. Because this was no longer about Earth or invasion. This was about a new balance. And humans were no longer unknown. They were the variable no one could ignore. As Part 3 closed, the universe faced a new truth. The next conflict would not be decided by numbers or size. It would be decided by who learned faster. And humans had never lost that race. The galaxy felt the shift before it understood it. Routes changed. Signals echoed. Time felt heavy. Humans moved with care. Not loud, not proud. They knew the watchers were close. Inside human command, the man studied the patterns. Not on one screen, but across many. He looked for rhythm, for habit, for mistake. The presence beyond space did not move like fleets. It moved like thought. Slow, curious, testing. Another human station went silent. Then another. Still no explosions. Still no wreckage. Just absence. Fear pressed against every decision. But humans did not panic. Panic was noise, and noise revealed weakness. The man ordered narrow advance. Not toward the presence, but around the missing stations. Human ships moved into the dark. Lights low. Systems quiet. They mapped emptiness. What they found unsettled even them. Space was thin, like something had scraped it away. Energy behaved strangely. Signals arrived late, then early. This was not destruction. This was removal. The presence was not killing. It was editing. Humans understood the danger immediately. You cannot fight what rewrites the page. Inside the council hall, voices rose again. Some demanded humans withdraw. Others demanded alliance. None had answers. The oldest member watched silently. He remembered old myths. Stories of things that came before stars. Stories no one believed. Until now, the presence pushed again. Harder. Closer. Human ships trembled. Not from force, but from uncertainty. Weapons meant nothing here. The man made a decision that shocked his officers. He ordered a controlled loss. One ship remained behind. Alone. Its crew volunteered. They knew the risk. The presence focused on it. Space folded. Pressure rose. The ship did not flee. It recorded. Every strain. Every shift. Then it vanished. Data streamed until the last moment. Humans learned. Models updated. Systems adapted. The man did not mourn. Not because he did not care, but because survival required speed. The presence paused. It had not expected resistance through sacrifice. Humans repositioned again. Their pattern changed. Subtle. Smart. The presence tested the new shape. Space resisted. Not fully, but enough. The presence withdrew slightly. The galaxy felt it, like a breath released. Humans had found friction. Inside human command, the mood changed. Not to relief, but to focus. They had learned how to slow the impossible. That was enough for now, but slowing was not stopping. The man knew the presence would return. Stronger. Smarter. Because that is what observers do. They learn. Humans prepared their next step. Not a weapon. Not a shield. A message. Not sent through signals, but through action. Human fleets formed a line. Wide. Clear. They stopped moving. They did nothing. Time passed. The presence approached the line. Careful. It pressed gently. The line held. This was new. The presence pushed harder. The line bent, but did not break. Humans did not respond. They endured. Endurance confused the presence. It expected reaction. Fear. Retreat. Instead, it found refusal. The pressure eased. The presence circled, testing edges. Humans adjusted quietly. Always just enough. The galaxy watched history rewrite itself. Not through battle, but through boundary. The man spoke for the first time in hours. Hold. That was all. The presence withdrew again. Farther this time. Not defeated, but uncertain. Uncertainty was victory enough. Human ships remained in place. Steady. Silent. The galaxy began to understand. Humans were not trying to win. They were teaching the universe a rule. This far. No further. As Part 4 closed, the stars looked the same, but felt different. Because something ancient had learned something new. Humans could not be erased easily. And next time, the presence would not come curious. It would come prepared. The universe did not forget the line. It circled it. Days passed. Then weeks. No attacks. No peace. Only watching. Human fleets stayed where they were. Quiet. Patient. Crews learned to live inside stillness. They slept. They trained. They waited. Waiting was not weakness. Waiting was a skill. The man watched long-range scans. Small changes. Tiny shifts. The presence moved like a thought returning again and again to the same idea. Humans. Somewhere deep beyond the line, space pulsed. Soft at first, then stronger. The presence was not coming alone. Patterns appeared. Echoes of echoes. Copies without form. The observers were multiplying. Inside the council hall, fear turned into argument. Some demanded humans strike first. Others demanded surrender. The oldest member spoke softly. There is nothing to strike, and nothing to surrender to. Only reality testing itself. Human command detected the change too. The man called a quiet meeting. They're learning faster. He said, that was the danger. Humans adapted under pressure, but so did the presence. The universe was becoming a classroom. and the subject was survival. Another distant human outpost faded, then returned, then faded again. Not gone, not safe, trapped between states. The man ordered evacuation of outer systems. Slowly, without panic, people moved. Ships relocated. Lines tightened. Humans were not shrinking. They were concentrating. The presence tested the new shape, pressing edges, probing weak points. Human ships absorbed pressure. Systems strained, but held. Then something changed. A human ship disappeared, then reappeared far away, inside enemy space. The crew was alive, confused, untouched. The presence was experimenting, moving pieces, not removing them. The man understood immediately. This was no longer observation. This was play, and play could turn cruel. He ordered a response, not force. Signal. Human systems emitted a simple pattern. Steady, unchanging. A rhythm, not a message. A presence. The universe felt it. The presence paused. It pushed again. Harder. Human ships shuddered. Some failed. Some held. Humans adjusted the rhythm. The presence mirrored it. For the first time, the presence copied humans. The galaxy watched in disbelief. The unknown was learning from humanity. This was dangerous, but also revealing. The man saw the opening. Mirrors require originals. He changed the pattern, subtly. Then again, the presence followed. Slower this time. Humans were leading. The pressure dropped, then rose again. Out of sync, human ships stabilized. The presence hesitated. Hesitation meant choice. Choice meant limits. The man ordered a bold move. Human fleets shifted the line. Not back, not forward, sideways. The presence reacted late. Space resisted movement it had not predicted. For a brief moment, the presence lost balance. Human systems recorded everything. This was not victory, but it was insight. The presence corrected itself quickly, retreating just enough. The universe steadied. Human fleets returned to stillness. But something had changed. The presence had learned humans could lead it. Even briefly, fear changed shape. Inside the council hall, silence returned. Heavy, respectful. They understood now. Humans were not just surviving. They were shaping interaction with the unknown. The man finally allowed himself to rest. For a moment, he knew what came next would be harder. The presence would not play forever. Eventually it would decide. Test or erase. Humans prepared for both. As Part 5 closed, the stars looked calm. But calm no longer meant safety, because the universe had begun to adapt. And humans were now part of the equation. Not as victims, not as conquerors, but as something new. A rule the unknown had to consider. The final test began without warning. One moment the line held steady. The next moment space itself leaned forward. Pressure rolled across the human boundary. Not like a wave, like a hand closing. Ships groaned. Systems dimmed. Crews held their breath. The man stood on the bridge, silent, still. He had waited for this, not because he wanted it, but because he knew it would come. The presence was no longer curious, no longer playful. It was deciding. Human command sent one order across every ship. Hold. The fleets held. The pressure increased. Stars warped. Light bent. Time felt slow. A few ships vanished. Not destroyed. Removed. As if they had never existed. Crews did not scream. They kept position. Humans understood something simple. If they ran, the presence would follow. And everything would end. If they held, the presence would learn limits. Earth itself went dark again. Not from fear. From control. Human cities powered down. Networks quiet. Every signal reduced. Humans made themselves small. Not weak. Hard to grasp. The presence pressed harder. Testing for cracks. Humans answered with unity. Not weapons. Togetherness. Millions of minds focused on one truth. We are here. And the fleets became more than metal. They became a message written in motionless time. The presence paused. It pushed again. From another angle. Human ships shifted slightly. The line adjusted. Always just enough. The man watched the data. Patterns inside pressure. Rhythm inside chaos. He saw it. A repeated pulse. A habit. The presence had structure, and structure meant it could be understood. Humans began to mirror the pulse, not copying, guiding. The line moved with the rhythm. Steady, calm. The pressure weakened, then returned, but smaller. The presence hesitated, as if confused. It had never faced a species that listened to reality and answered in the same language. The man gave the next order. Simple. Anchor. Deep systems activated. Silent machines. Old projects built in secret. They did not attack. They did not shine. They held. They created points in space that refused to shift. The presence pressed and met resistance that did not fight back. It simply remained. The universe slowed. For a long time, nothing moved. Then the presence withdrew. Not fully, but enough to ease the strain. Human ships stayed in place. Engines low, weapons unused. The man did not chase. He did not celebrate. He waited, because he knew the last step was not battle. It was agreement. Slowly a new signal arrived. Not a threat, not a question, a recognition. Humans could not be erased without cost. And cost mattered even to the unknown. The man answered in the only way that worked. He kept the line. Days passed, then more. The presence stayed distant, watching, but not touching. The galaxy began to breathe again. Leaders spoke softer. Fleets returned to patrol. Trade routes reopened. But no one forgot. Earth was no longer a target. It was a boundary. The council wrote new laws, not to control humans, but to warn everyone else. Do not provoke. Do not approach. Do not test, because the humans have drawn a line in reality. On Earth, life returned slowly. Lights came back. Children laughed again. Oceans stayed calm. People did not know the full truth, and humans did not tell them, because humans protected their own, even from fear. The man walked outside at last, feeling real air, watching a quiet sky. He looked up, and for the first time, he felt something close to peace. Not because the threat was gone, but because humanity had proven one thing. When the universe pushes, humans do not disappear. They hold. And the galaxy finally understood why it had not been ready. 9,900 ships attacked Earth, and only 17 escaped. But the real lesson was not the battle. The real lesson was simple. Humans are not a planet. Humans are a limit.